as much as I will try to cover. Okay, because the reason we have the full day session is to cover as much as possible sessions, because last cohort we had 12 sessions. This cohort we are going to have only 8 sessions. So we have 4 sessions less in numbers. I have to cover those 4 sessions content in during the rest of the sessions. So we might have more full day sessions this time, but the reason is to cover as much as content. Okay, Salesforce data model and data management. So basically, doesn't matter whichever system you are going to design, data model is the absolute key and core thing. If you have completed your data model, then you almost 40% completed your system. Your data models means how you are going to represent your data in your system, right? So let's say if you are going to create a library management system, how you are going to represent your books, how you are going to represent the book authors, how you are going to represent the lenders, how you are going to make the relationships between those tables, right? That's what data model basically. The tables, how you are going to formulate the tables, how you are going to build the relationship between the tables. One-to-one relationship, many-to-many relationship, one-to-one relationship, joins. So everything will come into the picture. So first thing first, you have to understand in Salesforce, especially who didn't participate in last session, we will be calling the tables as objects. So same concept, same thing, different names. So for example, if I say student object, that means student table. Simple as that. Likewise, the columns, we are going to call them fields. First name, last name, date of birth, NIC number. You call them columns, right? Here we are going to call them fields. Third thing, the individual detail, right? In traditional database, we call them records, right? Here we are, rows, right? Here we are going to call them records. So tables are objects, columns are fields, rows are records. That's what we are going to use. And one more thing, those in person, you can use the Wi-Fi. Cloud is the Wi-Fi. The password is cloudy at YSF425. You can only connect your laptops. You cannot connect your mobile phones. If anybody connect your mobile phones, then I will find out them and they will not be able to, yeah, laptops as well. Okay, so please make sure you are only connecting your laptops. The reason is to make your learning experience better. So that's why we are providing the free Wi-Fi. And please make sure you're not updating anything, please. And not downloading it. Okay. So that's how we are represent data in Salesforce. Obviously, though the terminology are same, there are some difference in Salesforce how we are going to represent the data. So that's what we are going to learn today. How we are going to formulate the data model and how we are going to manage the data. Data management, right? Data management means how you putting the data into the Salesforce, how you extract the data from Salesforce, likewise, right? At any point, if you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hands. You can ask any question, or else during the break, you can ask questions. You can ask questions at me. You can ask questions with Takshi, Rahul is there, Rashmi is there, Muhammad is there. So you can ask questions, like no problem at all. Okay. First of all, thank you so much for joining on a rainy day. I'm not sure whether it's already started to rain, but it's going to rain, it seems. Many of you have joined out of Jaffna as well in person. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. So we are all Salesforce Ohana, non-profit organization. So this slide will be coming every single time, unfortunately. I will try to skip really fast. So myself, Dhirendra Sharma, Salesforce MVP. I will be facilitating you guys in this session. There is another slide, but just skip the slide, okay? Okay, we are for people who have formed this community and running our partners. Okay, then this slide. Be active in social media and win checks. So again, initial couple of sessions, I will spend couple of minutes in this slide to make you understand the importance of this slide. The reason we are giving social media winners swags is like to encourage you guys to keep your social media active, especially your LinkedIn and Twitter. So when you are posting, please make sure you are using all these hashtags and you are tagging Salesforce and our community page. Yeah, Salesforce Ohana. So those profiles or those posts only will be considered toward the competition. And while you are posting the post, don't post just for the sake of posting. Try to be natural, try to be unique. I know many of you might use ChatGPT. It's okay to get some content from ChatGPT, but try to modify it a little bit at least. Don't copy paste it from ChatGPT all the time. Try to modify a little bit to add your own flavor in the posts. And you can tag people as well. You can tag the speakers. You can tag anyone who are helping you in learning, right? Because that's how your network will be widened. I have already seen many of you are already doing a great job. You are putting your batch completions. If you noticed, many of the people uh, who whom whom you don't know even, they are putting likes and comments sometimes. That's how your network will build and widen, and ultimately it will bring you guys opportunities. So end of the day, it's all about opportunities, right? Your future. So not only during our sessions, even while you are learning, completing any modules, feel free to like put in, put social media posts. If you see some big people, they will randomly put things in the social media regarding leaderships, regarding some random stuff. The reason is to make their profile visible, right? To keep the communication and the network going. So it's very important, especially in this digital world. You have to be very active in social media. So that's the reason we are having this. Okay. So today's agenda is Salesforce data model, Salesforce UI basics, data management in Salesforce. There will be hands-on challenge. I want to cover another area as well, but we'll see how time goes. At least I will start and stop the next section in between the UI customization. Okay. So um, few of the slides is going to be as same as last week slides. So those joined last week, that's going to be duplicates, you guys. Okay. First thing first, there are two things: data and metadata. For example, if you are, let's consider student table, same easy example. Each student details. For example, let's say I am a student, my name, Priyama Sharma Sojinagan, my date of birth, my NSD number. These details are data. So when we say data is records, right? We call them records in Salesforce. For example, my data will be represented by one record. So those we call data, right? These can be moved, means you can create, you can update, right? You can delete them, you can do everything. So that is data. What is metadata? Metadata is data about data. For example, let's take the student table. The fact, what are the fields we are having in the student table? First name, last name. Let's say we have 10 fields. The fact it has 10 fields and they are data types. it can be text, can be date of birth, it can be boolean, likewise, right? And what are their other configuration? Whether it's a liquid field, whether there is any validations, right? Those kind of things, we call them metadata. You are explaining some details or characteristics about some data. That is metadata. You can simply move this between oaks. What is oaks? I will come back to that later. But this one is metadata is little bit tricky to move. We have to have some specific tools to do that, which we will cover during the end of our cohort. Like for example, during session 7 and session 8, we will discuss about DevOps. You know DevOps, right? Means you are moving things from one system to another system. So DevOps. So that is related to metadata, right? So the basic data model in Salesforce, there are type of objects. So what is objects? Tables. So from now onwards, I will never use the word table. I will be using objects. So you have to understand objects are tables. Okay. So in Salesforce is a SaaS product, it's a CRM product, it's a cloud-based technology, right? I hope everybody on the same page on that point. And whenever you are starting to use Salesforce, it comes with some pre-built configurations, pre-built applications, and pre-built object structures. Okay. So there are different types of objects in Salesforce. First, standard objects. So as I mentioned, when you have your org, when you say org, your Salesforce instance, your Salesforce application, that is your system, right? So we call them organization. The short form is org. So when we say org, that is your whole Salesforce application. Inside the Salesforce application, there can be many application like run management system, library management system, like this. You can have multiple systems inside your Salesforce application. Okay. When you are creating your org first time, there will be some predefined object structures. One last time, when I say object structures, there are tables, database tables. So by default will be some object structures. We call them standard object. So if you haven't created any objects in your Salesforce org, it was already there. Let's say those are standard objects. There are many standard objects in Salesforce, but the popular one we always use: accounts, contacts, opportunities, leads, cases, likewise. Okay, those are standard objects. So what's the meaning of standard objects? It was pre-built in Salesforce. You haven't created them, right? That is standard. But as always, pre-built things are not enough, right? Sometimes because every business is different. You might have different requirements. So you may need to create some new object structures. In that case, if you are creating object, those are called custom objects. So if it's already pre-built, that is standard objects. If you are creating from new end, that is custom object. Then there is something called system object. As the name represents itself, system objects, it's storing some system data. Less than. Then external object. The external object means obviously the systems cannot perform standalone. You may need to connect your system with external systems, right? For example, let's say we are CRM, right? Salesforce is a CRM product. Let's say you have to connect your Salesforce with the ERP system or SAP, right? In that case, SAP will be using a different object structure. They may have the traditional SQL databases, right? they will be using tables and stuff. In those tables, what will they have? Primary keys. You guys know primary keys, right? In because we don't have primary keys, we have Salesforce IDs, right? Those new, just bear with me for a few minutes. I will come back to that later. So that specific object structures in the external system, you have to represent in Salesforce, right? In order to make the connection between two systems. If that's the case, we are calling them external objects. So these are, again, these are custom objects because you are going to create them, but a special type of custom object because these objects only used to map the data outside of the organization or external to your flow. So if you are representing some of the database which is in another system like SAP or Dynamics 360 or Java application or something like that, and if you are representing that data inside the Salesforce, then that's called external object. Okay. The object, big data, that is a separate section. So we have big data, big set, um, big data in Salesforce. We will not be touching this at all, but you just need to understand that is something called big data, big object in Salesforce. So these values two are really, really important. These two you have to understand the meaning. What is system object, what is external object, you have to understand. Any questions? Okay, I will show a demo because we have new people today before I move to the next section. So I was discussing like OG. So the problem is what is OG, right? So if I go to a Salesforce instance, for example, I will create a so in Salesforce Trailhead, you have sample Salesforce applications. Means sample Salesforce instances. We call them playground because you are going to learn. You are going to learn and you are going to play around, right? So you can create as many as playground as you need. So once you have created, they will be listed here. So if you see, I have a lot of playgrounds, right? From here, what you can is you can launch them. So if I click launch, it will open it in a new tab. So I'm opening a Salesforce instance to showcase you guys how the Salesforce UI will be look like, and the objects and stuff. Okay. So basically, this is app launcher. See, it says app launcher, right? This is the place you have to go to open any application in Salesforce. As I mentioned, Salesforce will come with pre-built applications. For example, if I click view all, it will show me all the application in my Salesforce instance. But as you can see, all of these are applications. We have sales application, service application, lightning usage app, road solutions, code build. So these are different applications. Let's say you are creating a student management system. That will be also visible as another entry here, like student management system. Likewise, library management system, another entry, library management system. So your Salesforce system is one big application. Inside that, you will be create different application based on your use cases. Clear? But the point is, all those applications going to use same database. So one Salesforce instance, one database. If you don't want to connect the databases, then you have to create another Salesforce instance, right? If putting multiple application inside the Salesforce instance, they will be using same database, same data model, same data, right? Whatever records visible in one application will be same as the another application as well, right? So for example, open the sales application, the basic one, obviously. So this is the UI look like. As you can see, the first thing is home page. Home page is UI, like your landing page. some dashboards, some daily tasks, to-do list. Likewise, you can configure it. Again, this is configurable. How we'll come back to that later in the UI customization session. Whether it can be today or next week, I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes. Well, as you can see, we have different tabs: opportunities, leads, accounts, contacts. So these are the standard objects. So for example, if I go to accounts, I will update to all accounts. See, I have multiple data here. Right? These are every account records, means every rows according to your traditional database. If I click one account, it will show the details regarding the account. So what is the account owner, what is the account name, account number, so whatever fields that you have created or been already created by Salesforce, shown here. So with each line, these are fields. Employees is a field, SIC code is a field. This is the data record. So this is field, this is record. Are you clear? So now you are clear about objects. Now you are clear about fields. You are clear about records, right? So in order to manage objects, because you have to have some place to manage them, right? To create new objects, to create new fields. Likewise, you can do that. Or why you do that? So that we have to understand the Salesforce UI in the first place. As I mentioned, this is your app launcher. So if you want to switch between applications, let's say from sales application, you would like to jump into the service application, like your student management system application, you will be using this app launcher. You can click and you can start typing and it will be filtering for you. Or else you can click view all and from there you can select, right? This is switching between applications. This is your app launcher. Second, your profile. So here you can click your profile and you can go to settings and do a lot of stuff. You can log out, you can do, right? These kind of things are here. Third thing, this gear icon, we call it setup. If you click this, you have multiple options. Here, our main concern right now is this setup. So you click the gear icon, you select the setup. This is the place you are doing all your configurations in Salesforce, right? So when it's come to configurations, we are going to learn a lot of things in future, lot of automation tools, right? We have discussed about flows, right? Flows, approval processes, escalation rules. There are a lot of configurations in Salesforce. Everything you have to do in this setup page. But our first area of concern is this object manager. If you go to object manager, this is the place all your object structures resides, right? So as I mentioned earlier, if you create a Salesforce org, it will have pre-built object structures, which is standard object. See how many standard objects, see standard object, standard object, standard object. See how many standard objects we have. It's keep going, see. So that number of standard objects we have in Salesforce by default. Okay. So for example, let's go to account. If I go to account, then it will have another page. So this is the page you can customize the accounts. So here, if you see, first tab is detail. So it says what is the API name. So in when it comes to objects in Salesforce, there are two things. One is label, which is visible in the UI. The other one is API name. API name means that we will be using in our backend during your coding, during your database manipulations, your querying, SQL query like you can SQL, right? During that time, you will be using API name. Okay, so that is API name. In plural label, so accounts. So you have to define the plural name as well. So that's it. Those are the three main things. Your API name, your label, your plural label. So these three things will be in details. The second thing is fields and relationship. What are the fields? So what are fields in Salesforce? What are fields in Salesforce? Huh? Columns. So what are the data you are going to represent in that specific object, that specific table? See, as you can see, we have these number of fields or accounts. Okay. As you can see, account name, account number, account site, active, annual revenue, billing address. So these are the details that we are seeing here, right? You understand the connection, right? As you can see here, this is field label again. The same way as we discussed for object. So fields and relationship, we will have a label again. The label is visible in the UI. So this is the label basically. Employees. So there will be a label like employees. If we go to see employees, so that is label. This is field name. This is the API name that we have discussed, right? Which we will be using in the backend for database manipulation. So this is your coding time. So that is field name. This is data type. In Salesforce, we have a lot of data types, as we discussed in last session, like data in date, and currency, URL, latitude, longitude, addresses, likewise. Yeah, it shows what is the data type. See, this is name. This is by default provided by Salesforce. So you cannot edit them. This is text. This is lookup. Just ignore the lookup for the new text, text, currency. See, there are a lot of types, data types. Now, here you can see a difference between two fields. For example, account source says account source, but active says active underscore C, which means those two are not same. So this is the simple way to identify which is a custom object, which is a custom field. The same way the Salesforce is giving us custom object, it will give you some predefined fields as well. We call them standard fields. Did I say custom fields, custom objects previously? Standard objects, standard fields. So standard object means those are the objects coming pre-built in Salesforce. So what is the meaning of standard fields? Huh? Guys, please speak. எல்லாம் அப்படி சாப்பிடுங்களா நான் சாப்பிடல நீங்க சாப்பிடுங்களா இல்ல சாப்பிடலையா அங்க இந்த உள்ளத்துல ஆடுது ஓகே ஓகே சரி என்ன மாதிரி what is the meaning of standard fields? Predefined fields in Salesforce by default. So whatever field you haven't created in Salesforce, standard fields. So if you look at the name, means API name of the fields, if they don't have the underscore C, which means it's a standard field. If it has underscore C, that means custom fields, means that being manually created by someone else. This used Salesforce, right? I didn't create the first one. This one. So for some reason, we have created active underscore C fields. Okay. Standard fields, you cannot delete them. Standard objects, you cannot delete them, right? Because you are interfering with Salesforce architecture, right? So you can make a few modifications. For example, you can update the label. You can update the labels. That's only you can do with standard objects and standard fields. Custom objects, custom fields, you can do anything. You can create them, you can delete them, you can update them, you can edit them, you can do whatever because you have created them, right? So you have the power to do anything with that. The same way, if I go to the object manager again, so if you see the API name here, the account we don't have underscore C and the type is standard object. Let's see if we have any custom object. Luck by chance. See, dice roll. There's a dice roll object. It's in which something happened. As you can see, it says custom object, the type. And if you see the API name, dice underscore roll underscore C. So if there is a underscore C, that is custom object. In the field level, if there is a underscore C, that is a custom field. Are you clear? Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new object, a custom object. So if I create object, what is that? Custom object. So how we can create an object? Very simple. If you go to object manager, so you have to go to the gear icon, you have to select the setup. It will take you the setup home. Then you can click on the object manager. If I go to object manager, right, you see there is a create button here, right? If you click the create button, custom object. So this is new custom object. See, it's asking three details: label, plural label, object name. So these are the three details we have to give. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create student table, one student object. Okay. So let me give students. So when you put the label, object name, it will automatically create. If you want, you can update it, but it will automatically create it. So that's it. Those things you can leave predefined for the time being. I'm not going to talk about that. So now you have created a new object called student. What's the type of this object? Why it's a custom object? We have created it. Cool. So now see the API name student underscore C because it's a custom object. And for the custom, it shows a check. Tick means it's a custom object again. Now it's a freshly created custom object. We only created the object. But the point is, it will have some predefined fields as well. So inside the custom object, there will be some standard fields, which is automatically created by Salesforce. So it doesn't matter whatever object you create in Salesforce, these four fields will be automatically created. So these four fields are standard fields created by, last modified by, owner and name. So if you create employee table or employee object, you will get all these four as well. If I go to account, for example, we go to account name. We have account. See, these are those two fields, right? Which is available in our custom object as well. Then if we go created by, who created this? What's the time it was created? And who last modified the data? And when it was last modified. If we never modified the data, created by, last modified by will be same. Why? There is no update happen, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to randomly update something here. Okay. I'm just going to add one more number. Right? Same. See, Now created by 15th of August, last modified by 8th of November 11:15. So this created by last modified by will be automatically calculated by Salesforce. You don't know, you don't want to, you will not do anything. So with this, you can understand who modified the data last. Or it's who has actually created the data. These kind of things you can understand. So because that's the reason Salesforce by default provided us 4 fields by default, which is standard fields. So standard object will have both standard field and custom field, right? For example, I can go to account, I can create a fields on top of the standard object, right? There can be scenarios the existing these are not enough for me, right? So I will go to edit object. So we'll automatically take me to account object manager. Here I can go to fields and relationships. I can create a new field. So on the standard object, I can create custom fields. So standard object will have both standard fields and custom fields. Likewise, custom object will also have standard fields and custom. Standard fields, we cannot make any major modifications and we cannot delete them at all. Custom fields is yours, you can do anything. Are we clear? Good. So I will try to create one field here because some of you are not in the last session, right? For example, let's say this is account, right? Let's create a field call. So how to create a field? You have to click. You have to go to fields and relationship tab. You have to click the button. First thing is you have to select what's the data type you are going to represent. Like we have so much of the data type. We have so much of data types. Sorry. So much of data types and it carries description as well. For beginners, it's explain what's the data type. Click the next button. So again, same. You are going to give the label because it's a text is asking what's the maximum length. So based on the type you select, the second URL will be different. If you select currency, it will ask different information. If you select number, it will ask different information. But the field label will be same for everyone because label has to be there, right? So let's put maybe a country for the time being. Country. I will put maximum length is 20. If you put 20, if you try to save a data with 21 length, it will not allow. It will throw error because the maximum length is 20. Right? Then here you can define whether it's a required field or not. And also you can define whether it's a unique field or not. For example, if it's a NIC number, right? It should be a required field, right? Everyone should know the NIC number. And also it has to be unique because two people cannot have same NIC numbers. Okay? So what you can do is you can check those check boxes and okay. Then we can click next. So here we have something called the files, which we will discuss in next session. For the time being, don't worry about this page. Just select all the checkbox and only for visible. Don't check anything on the side. Only check visible here and click next. And also don't worry, we'll discuss in the evening regarding this. Okay. So basically, you have created a field called country, which is type of text, which with maximum length of 20. So now, if I go to my account page and refresh it, then I should see the new field because that's the beauty of Salesforce. When you create the data model, it will automatically create the UI for you. So let's say if we have country. Sometimes it will take some time, unfortunately. Control Shift R. See, country is available now. So this is the new fields that we have created, right? If I go to the page again, now I will have a country name. The name is country underscore underscore. See, the data type is text with maximum length of 20, right? How do you So likewise, you can create custom objects, you can create custom fields as well as because you have to represent the data, right? That's the basic core of your application. I am taking this much of time because you guys have to understand the data model. In Salesforce, building applications is very easy. You are not going to build the UI. UI is automatically built, right? So the huge amount of time that you are going to spend is deciding your data model. If you are very comfortable in the data model, you are a pro in Salesforce. So try to spend as much as time and understand this data model concept. This is the base. If you are comfortable with this, you are comfortable with Salesforce. Simple as that. Okay. So you know ER diagram, right? Anybody don't know ER diagrams? So everybody know ER diagram. In ER diagram, we will represent the data model, relationship between the two tables, right? So here in Salesforce, we have the same. If I go to object manager, there is something called schema builder, right? If I go to schema builder, it will show me all the objects available in Salesforce in the schema diagram. So you can think there is nothing. There is nothing because see we have this much of data. So if you zoom out, see this complex is our data model. See how many tables we have and how many of relationships we have. You guys know the one-to-one, one-to-many relationship, right? I'm not going to discuss about those basic stuff, but kind of complexity is there in this database. So each is related to each, likewise. So now you have to understand there will be relationships. You can connect two different tables, means two different objects. So now we are going to go to the next section, which is relationship types. In Salesforce, see, we have 2, 6, 7, and all, or almost 7 relationships. You have to understand these two relationships very well. Master data relationship and lookup relationship. So what is relationship in the first place? You are representing one data in another table. Usually, let's say you have a student table. I'm just going again back to the traditional way. If we have student table, let's say you are representing, let's assume it's a university. So you are representing the departments in another table, right? So you have a student table, you have a department table, right? Now, in the department table, let's say you have biology department, zoology department, IT, commerce, blah blah blah. You have like 50 departments. In student table, you have a column called department. What will be the type of data type of that department? Will be text, It will be text. Raise your hands. If it's text, that's the reason we are creating the department table. So basically, if we are creating a different table, which means we are going to represent that data in the table, right? Okay. Those in Zoom, please bear with me because I am going to use the board. Okay. So let's say this is student table. Okay. So this is student table. Here I have first name, last name, DB. Very good. No confusion, right? I have another table called department. My handwriting is terrible, I know. So in your traditional database, you will have primary key, right? Usually you will have, let's say NIC here. In department, let's say you have primary key called ID. Usually you have ID, right? And then department name. Then let's say it will be under faculty, right? So faculty name. Let's say department head. And then you can like build in Java to document different things. Now, let's say I have um mm, all of these are my friends, okay? It's cool time. Who else? Sudha, like in department we have me, IT, law, commerce. Let's put one each for all these. So now, if I take Ram as a single person, Ram will have a first name, last name. Let's put Ram the last name. Chandra, I think. Okay, let's put for the time being Kumar last name. Date of birth, I don't know. So 1194. NIC number something. So now it as we have created department, we have to represent the department here. So my question is, are you going to put the department name here, or you will be using the ID here? You will be using the ID, and we will be calling it correct. Let's say I have why we are doing this. Having a text is easy, right? You can simply update new IT low simple. Why should we have the ID instead of having the text? Any reason? Sorry, family is not unique. That's okay, but first name last name is also not unique, right? The reason is if you start to mention it as text, it will work. The problem is there is a possibility of data issues. Means let's say we have a department, okay? Botany. One person will type botany. Another person will type botany. Someone will type Danny. So the data redundancy will be there. Now let's say you would like to query or you want to understand how many students there are in the Botany department. That will be your query. Select star from student where department is equal to botany. Which one you are going to use?
So we didn't see the screen.
Yeah. Oh, as in Zoom, please bear with me. Yes, we are using Wi-Fi. So you have to be with me for this. Please select. We will see if we can find any alternative for this class. So in that case, having a separate table, if you just use the ID automatically, any changes made here will automatically reflect here. So you have to make changes only in one place. Let's say botany department head is changed. You have to make the change only in one place. This will automatically reflect in all the students who are having department, sorry, who are having botany as their department, right? So that's the reason we are using relationships. Okay, to make the data redundancy a problem, and also it always good to have a relationship. It will reduce the problem in many ways, right? So now in Salesforce, also as I mentioned, the relationship. The board will come into the picture again, but let's discuss couple of points in this slide first. So the first relationship type is master detail relationship. So again, when we say relationship, we are going to represent another table data here. You guys clear with me, right? So when we say relationship, which means we are going to represent another table data here. The same way we have used. The same way we have used.
Hello, sir. The
Department.
screen is paused.
Sorry?
Screen is paused, not moving.
Yeah, because we are talking in the same screen. We are talking in the same slide.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first relationship is master detail relationship. So master detail relationship is a strongly coupled relationship in Salesforce. So master is controlling the child. So when you are creating a relationship, there will be object 1 and object B, because end of the day you will be connecting two different objects. So master details means master is controlling the child. So if you delete master, child will be also deleted. So without master, there cannot be a child. And we call them strongly coupled relationship. The usual typical example I always discuss is order and order line item. So let's say you are going for a supermarket. They are giving you a bill, right? Total. In the bill, there will be line items. What's the product you purchase? What is the unit price? What is the quantity? What is the total? So that is one line item. So if you think the bill is your order, each product that you have purchased is a line item. So can we have an order line item without the order? Can we have order line item without the order? You have to create the bill first. Then inside the bill, you will be adding each of your products, right? So if you bill, all the order line item also will be used, right? I think so. That is the typical example of master data relationship. If the master is deleted, the child also will be deleted. You cannot have a master, so you cannot have a child without the parent. Sometimes we call it like parent child, the master detail. So both the same meaning, similar meaning. So order line item is the typical example in this case, right? The second is lookup relationship. Lookup relationship is you are just referring one data in another table, but the other one can survive. So other one can exist without the second table. So for example, the department and student is a lookup relationship. Why? There can be a student without a department. Okay, theoretically, no, but if you delete a department, that will not impact the student, right? Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, so when we say lookup relationship, it's a loosely coupled relationship, and one object can exist without the other object. So, for example, here, if you delete the department, it will not impact the student because basically the student can exist without the department, right? Let's say he is a repeating student, for example, then there will be no department for the student. So there is no strict relationship between them. So likewise, for example, let's say um, um, a prescription object where you have, let's say you have a prescription object, and in the prescription object you will have prescription line item, right? Okay, we clear, right? So in the prescription, let's say you are somebody's got some issues, medical issues, the doctor is giving you a prescription. So now you have to represent that these details in the database. So you have a prescription object. There is another object called physician. Physician means the doctor. So we have prescription object. We have physician object. Now in the prescription, there will be called prescription line item. Right? Prescription line item will have the medicine name. What is the medicine? What is the quantity? When to take the medicine, like morning, evening, likewise, and before meal or after meal. So these are the prescription line items. So in one prescription, there can be many prescription line items. So now this prescription and prescription line items are in the master detail relationship. Why? If you delete the prescription, prescription line item will be deleted. Right? In the prescription, you have to mention which physician has provided this prescription, right? So in this prescription, there will be a field called physician, which is a lookup relationship for this physician object. Now, if you delete the prescription line item will be deleted. But will the physician will be deleted? No. Likewise, if you delete the student here, will that impact the department? No. So, deleting one object is not impacting another object. That case, that is lookup relationship. If deleting one object is impacting the other object, then that is master detail relationship. Okay. So that's where that is strongly coupled relationship. This is loosely coupled relationship because there is no strong bond. The third one is self relationship. There can be scenarios where you have representing the same object in the object itself. Example, let's say the physician is creating a prescription for himself, right? In that case, no. What can we? Okay. Let's say we have in this prescription, we have a field called previous prescription. Because sometimes you need the data, right? What was the for the sake of the history. So now this previous prescription will be a lookup relationship. But which object you are going to select in this previous prescription? It has to be another prescription, right? So same data you are representing. விளங்காட்டு சொல்லுங்க தயவு செஞ்சு ப்ளீஸ். நான் திருப்பி திருப்பி சொல்ல ரெடியா இருக்கு. விளங்க ஓகே, நல்ல விஷயம். இப்ப பிரிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன் இருக்கா? I'm going to talk in Tamil. If anybody have any issues, let me know. Prescription இருக்கா? Prescription நிறைய fields இருக்கலாம் தானே. Prescription ஒரு object இருக்குன்னா prescription date எப்ப அந்த prescription create பண்ணினது, right? The patient. Again, patient can be a lookup relationship. In patient details நாங்க இன்னொரு டேபிள்ல தனியா வச்சிருப்போம். அது ஒரு lookup relationship. Then இதுல வந்து physician இருப்பார். அதுவும் again ஒரு lookup relationship to physician object. ஓகே. இதுல let's say சும்மா ஒரு scenario பேசிக் நான் சொல்றேன். previous prescription என்று சொல்லி நான் ஒரு ஃபீல் வச்சிருக்கிறேன். அதையும் வச்சிருக்கேன்னா இதுக்கு முதல் இவர் எப்ப ஆஸ்பத்திரி வந்ததுன்றதை வந்து செக் பண்றது. இப்ப இதுவும் லுக்கப் தான். இந்த லுக்கப் யாருக்கு போனது? பேஷண்ட் ஆப்ஜெக்ட்டுக்கு போகுது, ரைட்? இந்த லுக்கப் யாருக்கு போகுது? பிசிஷியன் ஆப்ஜெக்ட்டுக்கு போகுது. இந்த லுக்கப் யாருக்கு போகுது? அப்ப ப்ரீவியஸ் பிரிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன் ஒரு ஆப்ஜெக்ட் இருக்காது தானே, அதுவும் ஒரு பிரிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன் தானே, விளங்குதா? இப்ப இன்றைக்கு இதுல ப்ரீவியஸ் பிரிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன் ஒண்ணுமே போட இல்லை. இது ஒரு ஃப்ரெஷ் பேஷண்ட். இந்த பிரிஸ்கிரிப்ஷனுக்கு நாங்கள் சும்மா ஒரு பேர் வைப்போம், பிரிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன் 001. இவர் நாளை திருப்பி வரார். அந்த பிரிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன் 009. இப்ப இவர் என்ன தர மாறாரோ, ப்ரீவியஸ் பிரிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன் இதா இருக்கும், இந்த PRS 001 இருக்கும். அப்ப ப்ரீவியஸ் பிரிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன்ன்றது இன்னொரு பிரிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன். அப்ப நான் என்ன செய்யறோம், ஒரு ஆப்ஜெக்ட அதே ஆப்ஜெக்டோடைய ரிலேஷன்ஷிப்பை கிரியேட் பண்றோம். அதான் செல்ஃப் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப். சரியா? லெட்ஸ் சே ஸ்டூடெண்ட் டேபிள் இருக்கு. அதுல அந்த ஸ்டூடெண்ட்டுக்கு யார் மானிட்டர் என்று நீங்க இதெல்லாம் ரியல் வேர்ல்ட்ல வராது. நான் ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிளுக்கு சொல்றேன். லெட்ஸ் சே நீங்க யார் மானிட்டர் என்று டிஃபைன் பண்றதுக்கு மானிட்டர் ஒரு ஃபீல் வைக்கிறீங்க. மானிட்டர் ஃபீல் ஒரு காப்பி. அப்ப நீங்க ஸ்டூடெண்ட் கிரியேட் பண்றீங்க மானிட்டர் ஃபீல்ட். அந்த மானிட்டர் நானே. அப்ப நம்ம லுக்அப் டைப் என்னவா இருக்கும்? ஸ்டூடெண்டா இருக்கும். ஸ்டூடெண்ட் ஆப்ஜெக்ட்ல ஸ்டூடெண்ட் லுக்அப் ஃபீல்ட் ஒன்று கிரியேட் பண்றீங்க. அப்ப அது என்ன? செல்ஃப் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப். தியரிட்டிக்கலி செல்ஃப் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் தான். ஆனா அதுல ஸ்பெஷாலிட்டி என்னன்னு கேட்டால் அந்த ஆப்ஜெக்ட் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப்பா வருது. இதுல நீங்க பாத்தீங்க என்றால் இவர் லுக்கப் தான், இவரும் லுக்கப் தான், இவரும் லுக்கப் தான், பேஷனும் லுக்கப் தான். ஆனா அவர் இன்னொரு ஆப்ஜெக்டை ரெப்ரசென்ட் பண்றார். அப்ப அது லுக்கப் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப். பிசிஷியன் அகைன் லுக்கப், அது இன்னொரு டேபிள ரெப்ரசென்ட் பண்ணது. அப்ப அது லுக்கப். ஆனா லுக்கப் தான், ஆனா சேம் ஆப்ஜெக்ட் ரெப்ரசென்ட் பண்ணுது. ஸோ அது ஒரு ஸ்பெஷல் டைப் செல்ஃப் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப். சரியா? இதுதான் அந்த செல்ஃப் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப். அடுத்தது எக்ஸ்டர்னல் லுக்கப். நாங்க அப்புறம் அந்த எக்ஸ்டர்னல் ஆப்ஜெக்ட் பார்த்தோம் தானே, இன்னொரு டேட்டா பேஸ்ல இருக்கிற டேட்டாவை நாங்கள் லிங்க் பண்ண போறோம் பண்றது, அந்த டைம்ல யூஸ் பண்றது தான் அந்த எக்ஸ்டர்னல் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப். அப்ப எக்ஸ்டர்னல் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் என்னன்னா இன்னொரு எக்ஸ்டர்னல் சிஸ்டத்துல இருக்கிற டேட்டாவை நாங்க லிங்க் பண்றது. அடுத்தது இன்டிரெக்ட் லுக்கப். ஓகே, இந்த இன்டிரெக்ட் லுக்கப், இந்த மெனி டு மெனி ரிலேஷன்ஷிப், இந்த ஹைரார்கிக்கல் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப், இதை இப்போதைக்கு மறந்துடுங்க. சரியா? ஒரே நாள்ல கூட காய்ச்சா கஷ்டம். அந்த 3 முடிஞ்சிட்டு தானே, அந்த 4 முடிஞ்சிட்டு தானே. ஸோ பேசிக்கலி நாங்கள் காய்ச்சது மாஸ்டர் டீடைல், லுக்கப், செல்ஃப் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப், எக்ஸ்டர்னல் லுக்கப். நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னு சொன்னா இது 2 பேருமே உண்மையா லுக்கப் தான். ஆனா ஸ்பெஷல் டைப் லுக்கப். அதே ஆப்ஜெக்ட் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் பண்ணினால், லுக்கப் பண்ணினால் செல்ஃப் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப். எக்ஸ்டர்னல் ஆப்ஜெக்ட் லுக்கப் பண்ணினால் எக்ஸ்டர்னல் லுக்கப் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப். ஸோ பேசிக்கலி இது ரெண்டும் இது இந்த சப்செட். புரிஞ்சா? எனி டவுட்ஸ்? ஓகே, இப்ப நாங்க என்ன செய்ய போறோம் என்று சொன்னால், இது எப்படி இந்த லுக்கப்ஸ் கிரியேட் பண்ணணும் பார்க்க போறோம். நாங்க கிரியேட் பண்ணலாம்ல, ஒரு கண்ட்ரோல் கிரியேட் பண்ணலாம். அதே மாதிரி என்ன செய்யலாம்னு கேட்டால், இவையில கிரியேட் பண்றதுக்கு நான் அக்கௌண்ட் கேட்பேன். இல்ல ஸ்டூடெண்ட், நான் ஸ்டூடெண்ட் எக்ஸாம் காய்ச்சல் பாத்தீங்கன்னா ஃபீல்ட் இந்த மேல இருக்கு பாருங்க, லுக்கப் லுக்கப் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப், மாஸ்டர் டீட்டெயில் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப், எக்ஸ்டர்னல் லுக்கப் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப். நீங்க என்ன செய்யலாம்னா லுக்கப்பை செலக்ட் பண்ணுங்கன்னு சொல்லி சொன்னால், இதுக்கு எந்த ஆப்ஜெக்டை ரிலேட் பண்ண போறீங்க உள்ள தரும். நான் இப்ப சும்மா சொல்றேனே, டின் 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 இதுல பாத்தீங்கன்னா இந்த சுதந்திர ஆப்ஜெக்டா இருக்கும். சாரி, பண்ண போறோம். நெக்ஸ்ட் இந்த லேபிள் வந்து சும்மா சொல்றேன், ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா போகணும். ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் நேம் அப்படி விடுவோம் இப்போதைக்கு. நெக்ஸ்ட் விசிபிள், எல்லாருக்கும் விசிபிள் ஆக்கி விடுவோம். நெக்ஸ்ட் நெக்ஸ்ட் அடல்ட் டேபிள்ல மொனிட்டர்னு சொல்லி ஒரு லுக்கப் கிரியேட் பண்ணிட்டோம். இந்த பாருங்க, லுக்கப் யாருக்கு லுக்கப் சொல்லி பாருங்க, லுக்கப் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்டுக்கு லுக்கப். அப்ப அது என்னது? செல்ஃப் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப். நினைச்சா இது எல்லாரும் செய்யலாம், எந்தெந்த ஆப்ஜெக்ட் வேணுமோ எந்தெந்த ஆப்ஜெக்ட் லிங்க் பண்ணலாம். சரியா? இது எப்படி கிரியேட் பண்றீங்களோ கிரியேட் பண்ணுவீங்க. நீங்க இந்த பிரிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன் லைன் ஓப்பன் கிரியேட் பண்ணீங்கன்னா அதே மாதிரி பிரிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன் கிரியேட் பண்ணுவீங்க. பிரிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன் லைன் ஓப்பன் கிரியேட் பண்ணிட்டு அது இந்த சைல்டா கிரியேட் பண்ணுவீங்க பிரிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன் லைன் ஐட்டத்தை. ஓகேயா? கிளியரா? ஓகே, இப்ப நாங்கள் திரும்ப ஸ்லைடுக்கு போகணும்னு சொல்லி சொன்னால், இந்த ஃபீல்ட் டைப் நாங்கள் ஆல்ரெடி பார்த்துட்டோம். ரைட், நம்பர், பிக்ஸ், எல்லாம் இருக்கு. இதுல ஒரு விஷயம் நீங்க பார்க்க வேண்டியது வந்து ஓட்டோ நம்பர். அந்த பாருங்க ஃபார்முலாவுக்கு இருக்கு. இந்த ஃபார்முலா, ஓட்டோ நம்பர், சமரி, இது எல்லாம் கொஞ்சம் ஸ்பெஷலானாக்க. ஓட்டோ நம்பர் என்ன யாருன்னு சொல்லி சொன்னால், ஒவ்வொரு ரெக்கார்ட் கிரியேட் பண்ண அது ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா இன்க்ரீஸ் ஆகிக்கொண்டு வரும். பிரிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன் 001 சொல்லி அதுதான் auto number. Let's say ஒரு student number ஒரு specific ரெடி பண்ணலாம். FTU 001 இல்லாட்டி FTU 0000001 டிஃபைன் பண்ணி விட்டீங்கன்னா அது ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா என்ன செய்யணும்னா அடுத்த ஸ்டூடெண்ட் கிரியேட் பண்ணிக்கல ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா இம்ப்ரூவ் பண்ணிட்டு போகும் 2 3 4 இம்ப்ரூவ் பண்ணிட்டு போகும். அது auto நம்பர் அந்த ஸ்பெஷல் டைப் இருக்கு, நீங்க ஃபீல்ட் கிரியேட் பண்ணி பார்க்கலாம். ஓகே, நான் எல்லாமே மாத்திட்டேன், சாரி. So that is auto number. The other one is roll up summary field. Roll up summary field is a special type only available in master detail. We are talking about roll up summary. It has to be a master detail. The easy example for the roll up summary field is the data line item example. So order is master, the line item is a child, right? Detail, master detail, or parent child. You are comfortable with it, right? Comfortable with it, right? So now let's say you have to calculate the total of your order, right? Total of your order. But you can take the order line item total and if you add everything, that is your order total. So you can manually add them. But in Salesforce, we have an option called roll up summary. So any details in your child records, you can roll up them. You can add them and put it as a field in the master. For example, the total number of items you have purchased. If you want to add the total quantity, so if you want to add the total number of things you have bought. So these kind of examples, we can use the roll up summary field. So these things will hard to understand by discussing it. You have to do it yourself and you have to understand. Okay. Then rest of the things are same. We have already discussed, so we skip field configuration. So while we are creating field, we can only configure few things, right? Text. So we have created the text. We have mentioned what is the maximum length of the text. But as we have mentioned earlier, based on the data type you have selected, or based on the data that you are selecting, the configuration will be different. For example, if you select number, it will ask how many decimal places you are having. Because we don't have a likewise, there are other things like filter criteria, help text, maximum length. So uniqueness we have discussed. Starting number is for order number. So when you are defining the order number, you can define what is your starting number. You can start from 1. You can start from 1,000. You can start from 4,000. For example, Yarl in conference ticketing, you will start from 1. You're starting from a random number. Yes. When you are defining your database, you have to think about your data security. So let's say you are starting from 001. Then everybody knows you can predict, right? So this is the correct one. So if somebody gets 0034, okay, 30 is being sold. It's a kind of critical numbers, right? So we don't want to expose those things to others. So we start from a random number, like 9,998. Now nobody knows. This kind of thing you have to understand, you have to plan. Because again, data is very, very important. Data model is very, very important. Then the schema building we have already discussed, right? So while you are creating your object, you can create the object from your object manager. In schema builder also you can create. It's similar. In schema builder you can create, and the code you can you can create that from code, but just keep that. You guys don't need it for the time being from a basic perspective. So if I go to the schema builder, so here I can deselect all. Let's say I want only account and contact. So if I select only account and contact, see, it will showcase the account and contact only. These are two main objects in Salesforce, account and contact. So it's, you see, the blue line means master detail. The red line means, sorry, the blue line means lookup. The red line means master detail. Vertical red line means those are required. So if you see account, there are a lot of required fields. If you see the contact, there are two required fields. So then here also, you can create objects. So here you can use these drop down to only show the standard objects, only show the custom objects. See, we have no custom objects in the by zone environment session data student. If we select them, clear all objects, clear all, custom object, select all. See, these four data, they don't have any relationship. They are custom objects, there is no relationship, so there are no lines between them. So they are four standalone different objects. So this is one of the easy way for what do you call visualize your data model from the schema builder as well. So here you can see object is it's showing some UIs. So if you want object, you can drag and drop the object. You can create a new object here. Like this, you can drag and drop the fields and you can read the fields. Basically the same for different UI. I would suggest you to use the object manager. Use this to organize your database, the connections, what are the fields available, what are the required fields available. Sometimes that will be much easier you. But the point is you have two different ways to create your object models in Salesforce. Third one, just ignore the MB. Okay. Record types. Before we discuss about the record types, I would like to discuss about the some standard objects in Salesforce. Okay. Sorry. Sorry. Okay. In Salesforce, there are some standard objects. The thing is, you have to understand those objects' meanings because the important fact in Salesforce is something is already there, you should use it. You shouldn't duplicate the work. So let's say you want to create a student object. First thing first, you have to analyze the existing objects and try to see is there any way to reuse the standard objects to represent the student data. If no, then only you have to create a new object. So, in order to do the analysis, you have to understand the existing objects names, right? So there are some very important standard objects. Thanks, Ra. I will let you do it. There are very important standard objects in Salesforce. So first is account, contact, lead, opportunity, case. And there are like acts, codes. There are again a lot, right? But these accounts, contacts, opportunities, leads are very important. Let's discuss that in the lunch. Okay. So why we are using Salesforce to represent our CRM, customer relationship management. So you are going to represent your customer data in Salesforce. So it's going to be customer. We are clear with that. So the value representing the customer is accounts. So accounts means your customers by default. Whether you can use that account field for something else, yes, you can. You can repurpose it. But that's the actual account in Salesforce is your business customers. When we discuss about the business customers or your customers, there can be two types of customers. One is an individual person. Another one is an organization. For example, let's say I am going to Keels. Okay. Or else let's say I am going to Lingangoga. Now I am hungry. I want to eat 2 rolls. I am buying 2 rolls. Now I am a personal customer to Lingangoga. So let's say we have a database. We will put, okay, Sharma, 2 rolls. This is the database representation. Now I am an individual customer. Okay, in the evening, we have to give you snacks. So I am going and buying 50 rolls. Now I am buying the rolls of me. I am buying the rolls of Yarl sales of Ohana. Now I am representing Yarl sales of Ohana. So now who is the customer? Yarl sales of Ohana is the customer. Who is paying the money? Yarl sales of Ohana is paying the money. I am just a customer here. I am just a middleman who is doing the transaction because organization there is no way organization will go to a shop. ಇಲ್ಲ ಯಾರು ಸೇಸೋಣ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ஒரு பில்டிங் ரைட் அந்த பில்டிங் கடன் சாப்பிடுவாங்க அப்ப அந்த பில்டிங் நீங்க பள்ளிக்கூடத்துக்கு சாப்பிட வாங்க பள்ளிக்கூடம் சாப்பிட வாங்க பள்ளிக்கூடத்துல டீச்சரோ பிரின்சிபலோ யாராவது சாப்பிட வாங்குவாங்க ரைட் அந்த அது வந்து தானே அப்ப ஸ்கூல்ல பேர்ல பில் சொல்லி சொன்னா ஸ்கூல் வந்து பில் வாங்கிச்சா இல்ல இந்த ஸ்கூல்ல இருந்து யாரும் வந்து பில் வாங்கிருக்காங்க அப்ப அப்படிப்பட்ட சினாரியோல வந்து அது வந்து பிசினஸ் கஸ்டமர்ஸ் ஸோ இண்டிவிஜுவல் கஸ்டமர்ஸ் டிஃப்ரெண்ட் பிசினஸ் கஸ்டமர்ஸ் டிஃப்ரெண்ட் so when we are discussing about the business customers the problem is business will not come in person there will be a person representing business right so when we are discussing about accounts there are two accounts one is person account the other one is business account. Person account means individuals. So, person account. For example, the initial scenario, I am going for a shop, I am buying something for myself, that is person account. The second one is business account. So, we are buying something, we are doing a business, only one organization. But the problem is, the organization will not do business. There will be a people who will be doing the business on behalf of the organization. You need to way to represent the details, right? That is where interaction can reach. So if there is an organization, that is a business account, anyone who is representing the organization will be contacts of the organization. If I am buying 50 rolls for Yarl sales of Ohana, Yarl sales of Ohana is the business account, Sharma is a contact of the Yarl sales of Ohana. Now let's go back to the previous discussion, the lookup relationship. Now, business account, we will have a field called contact. Because contact is an object, right? We have to create the relationship. Now, what is the relationship type? Lookup or master detail? You can let me know. So, there is the organization, business account, people representing the organization called contacts. So now we have to create a relationship. What is the type of the relationship? lookup or master detail. Lookup में सही बात है तो को यार मिल गया master detail में सही बात ரெண்டு எழுபது பாக்குறதுக்கு கொஞ்சம் நடந்தது ரெண்டு பட் இப்போ மாறுங்க ரெண்டு முக்க வாக்கலாம் ரெண்டும் அவங்களோட டெசிஷன் கூற முடியாது அப்படியே கேளுங்க அவ்வளவுதான் மூன்றாவது ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் ஓகே லுக் கை புகழி ஆகே லுக்கப் இப்ப இப்ப நீங்க எந்த பக்கம் மாத்த டீடைல அது கூகுளே மாத்த டீடைல் இருக்கா ஒன் லாஸ்ட் டைம் அதுவே நம்ம அம்மா யார் ஐ கூகுள்னு சொல்லி ஒன்று ஆத்தி ஓகே கேளுங்க அந்த மூணு கூகுள் லுக்கப்னு சொல்றாங்க கூகுள் நீங்க படிக்கிறது அல்ல சரி இல்லை அது போகுது பிரச்சனை டிஸ்கஷன் பண்ணீங்கன்னா விளங்கும் சரி மாஸ்டர் டீடைலுக்கும் லுக்கப் ஓகே வாட்ஸ் த மேஜர் டிஃபரன்ஸ் பிட்வீன் மாஸ்டர் டீடைல் அண்ட் லுக்கப் த சைல்ட் cannot if the child cannot exist without the master it's a master detail if the object B cannot exist without object A that is master detail if the object can exist without the object A, then is lookup. Okay, now what's the relationship type? Huh? Lookup or master detail? If you lookup and everything, this. Only, please. Ano yung mga under 4, 5. Hindi naman, Ilya. 5. Hindi naman mo rin okay, actually it's master detail. இப்ப தமிழ் டைப்பம் தமிழ் அடிக்கடி ஈஸியா இருக்கும் உங்களுக்கு ஈஸியா இருக்கும் ஆர்கனைசேஷனுடைய கண்டாக்ட் சரியா ஐஎஸ்எஃப்ஓன்ற அக்கௌண்ட் டிலீட் பண்ணினா அது சம்பந்தமான கண்டாக்ட்ஸும் இல்லாம போயிருந்தாங்க ஐஎஸ்எஃப்ஓவில் யார் செயல்படுத்தான இல்லாமல் நான் தனியா இருக்கலாம் அது பேசணுக்கா வந்து அது இண்டிவிஜுவல் ரைட் அப்ப ஒரு ஆர்கனைசேஷன் ரிலேட்டடான டீட்டெயில்ஸ் நாங்கள் டிலீட் பண்ணல அந்த ஆர்கனைசேஷன் சம்பந்தமான டீட்டெயில்ஸ் இந்த டீட்டெயில்ஸும் டிலீட் ஆயிரும் அக்கௌண்ட்டும் கண்டாக்டும் இன் Salesforce master detail it's a special type master details there are some exceptions please spend enough time watch enough YouTube videos to understand the master detail and especially account contact right because there are some issues even there are some seniors who have like 5 years 6 years experience are struggling to understand these things okay this master details this lookup very basic but it's very tricky to understand okay that is account and contact now we have lead opportunity and case so now let's say you have a business right first thing first a customer will come into your shop there is a scenario they will just get some information but they will not buy anything for example let's say you have a computer shop a simple example I always discuss about let's say you have a computer shop that's a possibility they come to your shop they will get the details okay how much is the laptop how much is the specification blah 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 they will get multiple options which we call what's the meaning of that what's the name of that document quotation right they will get a quotation right they will get multiple quotation in multiple shops and they will choose one thing so now that specific person is not your customer because they haven't done any business with you but now they are your leads because they are potential customers so leads are your potential customers who become a customer, who may not become a customer. Person may come to you, may not come to you. But you have to have the leads details because leads will become your customers ultimately. Right? If 100 people are getting information from you, your business strategy should be how can I convert as much as number of those leads as my customers. If you are converting all the 100 people, that's your success. In reality, it will not happen. Usually, lead conversion rate is like 5%, 10%. That's the reality. Okay. So now that person is a lead. The fact he is trying to buy a laptop is your business opportunity. Okay. Are we clear? So leads are your potential customers. The lead can be a business customer. It can be a personal customer. So I can go to a laptop shop. I can discuss or I can get the details to buy a laptop for me. Personal customer. I can try to buy a laptop for Yarl, Salesforce or Ohana. In that case, that is a business customer. Right? So now, first thing first, we will have lead. Okay. So I am going to a computer shop. So first thing you have to understand, we have lead who is a potential customer. Right? Let's say this person coming back to you and he is saying, okay, I'm happy to buy a laptop. Now he is buying a laptop. Now that is your customer. So that is your customer. In our case, we are going to call them account because account means your customers. In account, we have two different types. One is person account, other one is business account. If there is a business account, then there should be a contact. One business account can have multiple contacts. So it's one to many relationship. Because from Yarl's from our perspective, I can go and buy a laptop. She can go buy a laptop. Or Nandavarman can go buy a laptop. Or we can send Sajeevan to go and buy a laptop. So anybody can come. Anybody can represent the organization. So one business account can have multiple contacts. Right? Then contact will have a field. So business account will have fields, right? It will have first name, it will have last name, it will have phone, it will have email, everything. So these set of details will come from person account as well, business account as well. Right? Likewise, contact also will have first name, last name, phone, email. They will have contact role as well. Like what role they are playing in the business. Are they a CEO? Are they a manager? Are they a peon? Are they a you have to in database you have to have as much as possible data you can. Data is always wealth. So when you are designing your database, you have to think everything. You have to create as much as fields possible, capture as much as data. Because let's say you have a business account, a big company, right? A big company. Now you have to talk to them regarding a new product. We have 10 contacts. Now you don't know who is who. You cannot talk to a CEO the same way you are talking to a peon, right? Obvious. So in that case, you have to have the account role details so you can continue the discussion accordingly. in the same way or in a different way according to their hierarchy, role hierarchy in the business. So that is business account, person account, lead, customer, everything. Then this customer will do multiple business with you, right? He may buy a laptop today, he may buy a laptop another day, likewise. So those are the things are opportunities. That is your business opportunity. So a new person may come and request for details. That is your lead. Okay. So for lead also there are many scenarios. One scenario is a first customer coming to your shop and asking for details. That is scenario one. Scenario two, existing customer also coming to you and asking details. They are also getting quotation. Existing customer can come and directly buy the products. Not a problem. They may also inquire about something and they may come back again. So now that second scenario is a lead for you. It's a business opportunity, potential business, right? So those things also we can serve as a lead. Now we are going to discuss about another important thing called lead conversion. So the fact your lead becoming a customer is a fact right in your business. So now let's say I have created a lead with all the details like first name, last name, email, blah blah blah. Now let's say that he is coming and buying the things from your system or from your shop. Now what you have to do? You have to create a customer data. How it will be if you want to create everything from scratch again? Again first name, again last name. That's not ideal, right? You already have lead details. So there should be a way to create the customer details. For that, we have something called lead conversion. Okay. Lead conversion means your lead becoming your account or your customers. So a lead can be converted as a business account or it can be converted as a person account as well. If there is a business account, then there has to be a contact. Right? Optionally, you can create a opportunity. Why this is optionally means they may buy something, they may buy something. You can decide to have their data for the sake of your data. So the opportunity is optional in both this scenario. So now the problem is while you are converting the lead, how the system will know whether it's a business account or personal account? No problem, right? In the lead, there is a field called company name. So if the company name is available in the lead, while it converting the lead, it will automatically create the business account. If the company field is empty, it will create the personal account. Okay. Are we clear? Lead, account, contact. I know it's too much, but you have to understand. The last thing is case. This is very simple. Case is for service applications, means service cloud. If you have an issue with your mobile phone or your dialog connection, you make a call, right? Dialog customer care center. They will create the case for you, right? They will ask what's your problem. So the case will have subject, it will have description, it will have a link to account because the case is related to your customers, right? So it should have a account field as well, right? So that is your case object. Case is very easy comparing to other other objects, but this account object, opportunity object are very important. Try to understand. Okay. Now the actual slide we discussed. Record type. So Salesforce record types are a way of grouping many records of one time for that object. This can be applied to any standard or custom object and allow you to have different page layout and different picklist values. This page layout and picklist values, let's discuss after the break. They should be used for records that have the same concept, need to be different in execution. So record types are part of your objects. One object may have multiple record types. So far we have discussed a lot, right? Do you see any record types in this board? Do you see any record types? I will give you 2 minutes. Just try to understand, is there any record types in the table, in this board? Maybe discuss among yourself, your team, right? Just have 2 minutes discussion and try to understand if there are any record types in this board at the moment. Any anyone seeing any record types in the board? Chalo. Exactly correct. So account object, the two types of account we have, person account and business account, are two different types of accounts. So we are differentiating the accounts into two types because of their two different nature. Right? For example, another example is case. we didn't discuss in detail in case, but let's say you are a company, you have distributors as well as customers. Or let's say you have partners as well as customers. For example, if you think about SLT, our telecom, they have customers who are using the internet or their service. They have partners as well, right? Who are going to solve the issues, right? They outsource their partners. Now, customers, we are also complaining or we are getting complaint with SLT. There is a possibility the partners may also face some issues. They may also call SLT for some issues. Now you cannot put these two complaints into the same bucket. Now you have to differentiate them. One is customer cases, the other one is partner cases. So customer case is one record type, partner case is another record type, right? So these are the potential scenarios where you have to use the record type functionality in Salesforce. Another example is, let's say you are going to have a student management system, right? So basically by default, we say accounts are customers, but in student management system, there is no customers, right? So now you account as a student. Now the problem is we will have teachers, right? So what we can do, we can create two record types in accounts. One is students, the other one is teachers, right? One can argue account is customers. Why can't we create a custom object called student and another custom object called teachers? That is right. It will work. But in Salesforce, again, I am mentioning, you should try to reuse the existing objects in any way. You should think about reducing your workload as much as possible. Make it very simple. In simple ways, you have to create systems. Okay? Are we clear in record types? So, reasons to use record types: reduce the number of fields on the page, improve the data quality. Sometimes users are forced to fill out record types, which can lead to poor quality. For example, let's say the case example, right? The customer case is different, the partner case is different. But in the case, you have to have customer name for customer case. For partner case, you have to have partner name, right? If you put both in same bucket, if you have same UI, in customer case, there will be partner name field, which will be empty. In partner case, the customer name will be there, which is empty. There is a possibility user accidentally filling those unnecessary fields because they don't know. As IT people, you have to understand the users are அப்படி பட் உங்களோட யூசர்ஸ் வந்து முட்டாளம் வச்சுக்கொண்டா இந்த சிஸ்டம் பில்ட் பண்ணுவாங்க, right? You can think only the hell would do this, but the users will do. I'm serious. For example, we are facing some issues in real world scenario in our client side. You know, when you are clicking the payment button, you have to make the API call out to the bank, right? When you put the credit card details, you have to make the API call out. There should be some validation from the bank, and then bank will say whether the payment is successful or failure. So until the response comes, you have to wait in the screen, right? We say, please don't close the page. We put a message, we put a spinner, but still there are people who are closing the page. Even today we are facing the issue. So you have to think all the potential foolish ways your users will use them. So what we have to do is we have to put the prevention mechanisms as much as possible. So If the data is not necessary, don't put it in the UI. So the ultimate way is differentiating into two record types. So it will have two different UIs. So customer case will have only customer name in the UI. There will be no partner name field, and in the partner case, if there will be only partner name, there will be no customer name. Right? That's the reason. Record types makes life easier for the end user, showing them what they need, as well as none of the stuff they don't need to see. See, that's the last point. கஸ்டமருக்கு என்ன தேவையோ அதை மட்டும் கொடுங்க, தேவையில்லை உங்க நீங்க தேவையில்லாத கொடுத்துட்டு நீங்க எதிர்பார்க்காத மாதிரி உங்களுக்கு அந்த ஒரு எத்தனை அந்த ரீல்ஸ் பாத்தீங்களோ தெரியாது. ஒரு சின்ன குழந்தை ஒன்றுக்கு அந்த சதுரத்துக்குள்ள சதுரம் போடுறது, வட்டத்துக்குள்ள வட்டம் போடுற மாதிரி கொடுக்க, அந்த பிள்ளை இருந்துச்சு விட ஒப்போசிட்டா எல்லாம் போகணும், சில ரூலுக்குள்ள போகும். முக்கோணத்தை சதுரத்துக்குள்ள போடலாம் தானே, அது போகும். நீங்க வந்து அப்படிதான் யோசிக்கணும். ஸோ இது நடக்காதுன்னு யோசிக்கல, அது சரியா? That's how you have to think. Okay. Then we have to discuss about the UI, which is Salesforce UI basics. There are two types of UIs. We are on time, but let's close with this. Is there are two types of UIs. One is the legacy classic UI. The other one is Lightning UI. So, okay. Whatever we are seeing today, this all this UI called Lightning UI. This is the new framework introduced by Salesforce back in around 2011, that time. You know the old school UI, right? We call them classic UI. You can simply switch to classic, go to profile. There is a button called switch to Salesforce Classic. If you click this, it will go to the old school Salesforce UI. This is the old school Salesforce UI. Back in before 2010s. So here also you will have accounts. If you open one account, this is the UI. So this is the, you see the difference between that UI and this UI, right? Like that's the latest one with latest UI mechanisms and everything. This is the old school, very standard UI. If you want to go back to the Lightning one, switch to Lightning experience. If I click this, it will take to the Lightning UI. So classic UI, you have to know there is something called classic UI, because there can be some scenarios you have to switch to classic UI to check some configurations. Very rare case scenarios, but you have to understand there is something called classic UI. There is something called Lightning UI. Lightning UI is the one we are currently using in Salesforce. Okay. Okay. Now it's time for a break. After the break, we will continue how we can customize the UI, what is page layouts, right? How we can add and remove fields, UI. Likewise, we will discuss it. Okay. So now it's 12:35 almost. We will start by 1:35. 1 hour. So you can go for your lunch and come back. Thank you. Those in online as well, take a break. The call will be end right now. We will start the call back again at 1:35. Please be on time because we need to cover a lot.